Alright folks, welcome to the morning show, and today's guest is Hamlet. So let's start this interview off, shall we? Alright, Hamlet, it is to my knowledge that you loved your father deeply. If such was the case, why did you wait so long to avenge his death? The long-winded answer to that question is that I simply could not find the ideal chance to exact my revenge. My father, King Hamlet, was a tremendous ruler that everyone looked up to. Following his death, I felt depressed and lost in a way. It was an emotional time for me because everything happened so quickly. However, this was not the case for my wretched mother, who married that scumbag Claudius. Speaking of Claudius, I had been suspicious of his behavior ever since my father's ghost visited me and told me that Claudius murdered him to gain kingship. I had the opportunity to kill the new king, given the ghost's word. However, I needed more evidence that Claudius was truly the culprit. I thought of creating a play to guilt Claudius into revealing his true colors, and everything worked as planned. This time, I knew who the killer was, and I felt ready to take action. Except, when I saw the new king, I noticed that he was praying for forgiveness. To murder him in the midst of a holy act would only send him to heaven. That is unjust. Such a despicable man deserves to be burned to a crisp in the depths of hell. That is why I chose to wait again. Yet, all of this waiting was simply an excuse I made to myself to remain passive. Although I had the desire to carry out my actions, I truly lacked the resolve to do so. The fear of the unknown consequences of my actions was my greatest weakness. I waited until I was lying before death's doorstep to murder Claudius, simply because I knew that I would not suffer any greater consequences. Regicide is a heinous act, and I could not justify the king's death. Then not only would I be gravely humiliated by my reckless action, but I would be punished by everyone. My mother, my friends, and most importantly, the state would turn all against me. And the thought of taking such wrongful action was my deepest concern, and that's why I waited so long until I was sure that nothing worse could happen to me to take action. It's interesting that you mentioned such an intricate scheme for killing Claudius. However, when it came down to it, you chose to do so very spontaneously. Why did you make a hasty decision very suddenly when you attempted to plan for this for such a long time? Well, during my fencing duel with Laertes, I noticed that I had been poisoned by the tip of his sword. I knew Claudius had something to do with this, as he wanted to get rid of me for a while. Knowing in that moment my death was inevitable, I let go of every restraint I put on myself. Fear is a foreign idea to a dying man, and so I chose to kill Claudius when I had the perfect chance to do so, when there was no further action that could be taken against me. I could suffer no greater punishment in my current life for this deed, as I'd be dead by then. And so yes, I will admit that my decision was rash. However, it was the most I could do given my circumstances. Now, let's discuss a little bit about your love life. So, why did you treat your lover Ophelia so badly despite loving her very greatly at some point? I did love Ophelia once. However, my hatred towards Claudius and my mother overbore me at the time. I was so frustrated with the both of them for their horrible behavior, and I chose to vent this out on poor Ophelia, who in retrospect truly meant no harm. Despite her good intentions, I was certain of who she sided with, and could not let her figure out my plan to kill the king. Nor did I want to risk her life by convincing her to side with me. That would simply make her another target for that tyrant, Claudius. That is why I put on an act of insanity, insulted her, and pushed her out of my life. It was because I loved her, and that she will never understand the truth. I wanted to keep her protected from this dangerous plan I took forth, and really, this saddens me because she'll never realize my true intentions. Poor Ophelia died thinking of me as a crazed man, one who was different from the one that she fell in love with. However, such sacrifices must be made in desperate times. Okay. That's very interesting. Speaking of that, there are some other very important people in your life, and one of them was your mother. So why did you harbor so much anger towards her? My mother's lack of remorse for her husband's death is what angered me greatly about her. She had a responsibility as a queen, and more importantly, as a wife, to respect King Hamlet's passing. Her carelessness and sudden marriage to Claudius indicated that something was amiss. If my mother could accept her husband's death so easily, then it was possible that she'd been planning this the whole time with Claudius. That thought did enter my mind, but I chose not to think about it, because I could not accept the fact that she would have stooped so low. Yet, it did sit there in the back of my mind, and I'm sure that subconsciously affected my behavior towards my mother. The hatred that I held towards her was mainly due, however, to her hasty action and affiliation with Claudius, things that were both unforgivable. Well, now that everything's over and you really reflect upon things, do you feel any remorse for your actions? Yes, I did many horrible things in my state of anger because I had become so obsessed with killing Claudius that this single goal consumed my life. In a fit of frustration, I killed people such as Laertes and Polonius, who had never harmed me in the past. Worse than that is I feel responsible for Ophelia's death, especially because I should have been there during her time of need. Now that I sit back to think about it, however, I even regret taking Claudius's life. All the struggle began with my own selfish desire for revenge. My actions could have even been in vain, since there was no guarantee that Claudius was my father's murderer. I had some vague evidence of it due to the reaction Claudius had during my play, yet there may have been something else involved, something else which caused him to break down. It was foolish of me to reject everyone out of my life, simply for the sole cause of killing Claudius. I even pushed away Ophelia when she attempted to talk to me. I felt that no one could be trusted, and thus I alienated myself by playing the madman. I put on an act of insanity to trick her into thinking that I could not be talked to, and so she left. I had to forget about the effects my actions had on others, and to focus on my plan to achieve them. If I chose to think about the consequences of my action, then other emotions, such as guilt and hesitation, would have taken over. I could not let these things get in my way and stop me from achieving my goal, so I ignored these feelings. All of these things, however, are what caused me to be sent down a dangerous spiral to my death, and I truly wish that I could go back and do them all over again, and prevent these things from happening. Yes, that's true. We all have regrets about life because only one choice can be made amongst an infinite list of others. Yet, that's simply how things are in this world. Anyways, thank you for your time, Hamlet, and good night to everybody.